So just showing you through some of the Tridents I've got here to look through. I mean, hopefully you can see some there, but you'll see them in closer anyway. These two have gone back out into deeper pots. I want to get a lot more growth on them, but they all had some major errors or faults. They had faults on them. And then here, these will systematically work through now. And again, the process is exactly the same as I said with the maples. I just think with Tridents, I'm going to be this year I'm going to be a lot more ruthless. Yeah, so I'll be working on those, and I'll show you one or two of them and what I do with them. Yeah. And nobody mentioned, but there's a little pot down here which had some of my Trident Maple cuttings that I might have done early in summer, but let's not talk about that. Hiya, it's Xavier, and I'm slouching at the middle terrace. And hopefully, with this background and this sun, we're going to have a much better time at seeing what I'm doing with this Trident. My Tridents for 2 years running have suffered heavily by unexpected bouts of frost in sort of middle of March or even early April. And end result is I lost the entire top of this tree, and this is probably, I'm just starting to see some good bud bursts. So anyway, I'm going to take you through the process I'll do with this, and one or two others. Okay, so having a look at this, it was started. You must have tried to start something. It's also taken me 20 minutes to get set up for this, and I don't feel like doing it. No, right. Let's move on. Okay, so the first thing is we've got an obvious issue here. Looking at the thickness of the trunk, these branches are okay, but this one literally comes back in on itself. So unless I can wire it down, but even then it's always going across. So, you know, I'm going to try wiring it for now, to be honest, but I know probably the answer is actually to just remove it and then look at thread grafting. In fact, that is what's going to happen. That's going to get removed, but I'm not removing it now because I want that, remember this, I want that to be a cutting next year. And let's not talk about cuttings, not until we've seen the results of Jelle's Trident Maple cuttings. But yeah, so pretend that's not there, that's going to be removed. So with that gone, then we've got these here. Now we've still got here 1, 2, 3 probably from the same point, but it's such an odd, is that the right word? An odd sort of clump up there that I think it can work having that there. I don't think it's an issue. I mean, it has issues anyways. Tridents can traditionally be pretty ugly beasts. I mean, the other thing is to actually have a front there. The main thing we'll do with this one is I allowed this to grow on because what I wanted to do is to re-establish the healing of this wound here, which it's rolling over beautifully. I don't know if you can see there, but that's rolling over nicely, so I'm happy with that. But part of an apex there, but what I'm going to do is actually, can I ever go to hardwood on that? I don't know, maybe I could do a hardwood cutting on that. I'll do it on this one up here. Anyway, what I'm going to do is cut right back to here. So from the point of view, what you're going to do is get bud up there and buds here. And that's probably the best. There'll be a small distance there from there to that side, and then hopefully get the crown forming up over here and just fill in some of this space here. Any higher, and you obviously are aware of the defect of this really straight internodal distance there. So yeah, so that's going to be my first cut. And then fill in the hole, so to speak, and hopefully what that is going to do so long that seals nicely, is we're going to get two very, very strong, vigorous shoots from there, but we'll probably also get, that'll encourage some new buds coming in lower as well. So yeah, so hopefully then we'll taking that off now. Oh, look what's appeared. So I'm going to do a hardwood cutting on it, and with the hardwood you normally have to bury it quite a way, so I'm really not sure, to be honest. I've had absolutely no success with hardwood cuttings, by the way. Absolutely none at all. Bury that right down. See what happens. I don't know. Probably nothing will happen. It'll just die. Anyway, so that's that hardwood cutting. Do you know what? Let's just shove that in there as well. There we go. So those ones have been taken. Who knows what happens with those? I could do some more work on this, but looking at branches here, there's a stub cut there, but off that there is a little looks like a little bud that wants to come out, a little feathery bud. That needs to be cleaned up as well. Here, that's gonna quite cheap, but I've actually got, right, if you have a look here, there's little bud points there, let them come out. Okay, so if we have a look at this, I don't know, the shadows are coming across. Anyway, right, so if we have a look here, so we've got we've actually got visible buds there, and there's actually 4 around there, and there's 2 more there, 2 more there, and 2 more there. So going by the principle that I want the buds to come from this point, I'm actually going to cut back here and let those 2 come out. So we'll do that. So here we go. This appears to be dead, but what you'll actually see is here again there's actually a bud there and a bud there on a horizontal plane. So I'm quite happy about that. So we'll cut back to those. And it may well be that those 2 will take over and this will get removed. If you look over there, even under here, there's a lovely little bud just under here, and I'd love to have something coming out there. So I'm actually going to encourage that. We've also got something coming up, so that's fine. I'm happy with that. But it's just about with your tridents is looking. There's buds all over them. Just going to put a little bit of cut paste on there just to seal the top. I find it quite difficult. The sun's going straight in my eyes. Hopefully you better see all right. Okay, so let's follow this round. So we're coming here. That's going to be removed. Actually, let's neaten up that one. Let's flatten that off. There's a lot of work to do on that, but I'm more interested in this part of the tree. I might just trim that anyway with a view to, I know it's going to be removed, but who knows, if I get enough for canopy I may well actually hide that. So looking at this, I want to bring it right back. There's bud here, there's a bud length here, and there's a bud coming up here. So I'm actually going to cut that all the way off, and then the same here. We've got 2 buds there. Even if I take that as the cutting, that's what I want strong growth from. So we're going to do that. So underneath, we've actually got a bud right under there. If I wanted to, I could remove all of that, remove it all, and regrow from here. But as it stands, I've got interesting growth coming here. 2 branches here. I've got another branch coming out here, which I quite like, but I've actually got a bud down here. So I like that bud, so I'm going to remove that one here. Be nice to see if I get growth from there. But I've actually got this bud here, and I've got this bud here. And looking at the geometry of it, if this one grows, this will come up this way. I'm trying to work out which of these, because I could actually take off these choices. I mean, I can make some quite radical. Take off that entire stretch there, and they can be the two new growths going out. In fact, looking closer, I probably don't. So we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to neaten up this bit here. And again, I don't know if you can see, looking in there, there's a little bud there. So I could actually take off there, but you know, as far as we've got a nice split there. So I'm going to go with that, and that actually then goes into a nice split here. So I'm quite happy with those. Those are going to come out and grow. Beneath it, there's actually two vertical placed buds, which I don't really want. So I'm going to rub those off, and that's where the new growth is going to come from there. I may well let, there's no point letting that one grow now if I'm going to take that junction off, so that's fine. But what I do want to do is, here you've got this quite ugly vertical, but there's two buds coming from it. I have an option of letting that grow to there and then go that way, and then use these two bud points. But overall, I don't like that very flat, straight internodal distance. So I'm actually going to cut that one off, and these will be the new bud points. So moving along, looking closer at that, actually it looks like that's just a stub. So I'm going to actually remove that. So then we're coming on to this next one. Got a bud here and here. I actually like this one here better. The direction it's going to go out is nicer, but this, well, mind you, that can be wired. The principle is, if you've already got some growth there and it's healthy, then why remove it to have to spend another year or two getting what you'll get quite coarse growth, because that will shoot out and have a long internode. Where here I can already see there's actually quite a few little buds there, so that's going to, so that's answered that. So actually I'm going to take this one away, and then so these are now going to be the two. There's actually a bud there, I don't know if I talked about it, which I quite like the look of. This is a fairly ugly growth here. Just neaten up. Here I've actually got horizontal buds, which I'm actually inclined to cut back to, but it may be that I'm actually going to go further back on this. So anyway, so that's that. So we work our way further around. This will end up getting wired down. Okay, so we'll go further in here. Now here we've got, this divides from this junction here, 1, 2, and then very quickly into another 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. There's also this upward growing one here. So I've got to try and resolve what I want to do with this, bearing in mind that how far this branch is extending out. Ideally, if I was really honest, I'd actually like to have something that buds back here. I don't like how long that is, but it doesn't look like there's anything appearing there. We've got healthy growth here. Okay, this point here, don't like. And here, we've got two sets of buds here and here. So again, I'll let these ones run, knowing I want the ones further back. There's going to be an issue if these run, because they're going to go straight across here. So I'm actually going to take that off. And then let that go. We'll have some growth coming out that way. Then we've got this big, I don't want it to be growing back into the tree, so I am going to remove that straight away. So we've done that. Now let's look in here. This is providing the back. We've got buds there, buds up here. Don't know how easy this is going to be for you to see, but down the bottom again, I've actually got little bud pairs back here, closer into the branch. They may be more preferable, but I'm going to watch what happens with those. So then that's one off there, then it goes up and then branches into two. I think that's a stub, but I've got a little bud just here and one here. So I want those to grow. I can't really see what to do with them from there, but then we've got this, again, a Y piece, but I'm happier with this because the angle it creates isn't as obscene as the one we had further back, which I cut off. So here I'm just gonna look, we've got buds there and buds there, so I'll take that terminal tip off, knowing that I'm going to come back to here. On this one it's a little bit more difficult because it's already quite tight internodal from there to there, so I'm going to let those run, just make sure there's nothing terminal, and then I'll come back to those. So that's all I'm going to do with that. So we go further round. Yeah, we've just got this here. Just going to neaten off a stub. I think that may well not be too alive, although yeah, it's got a very off colour about it, so I'm going to watch and see what happens with that. But that's the main work I've done on this, and I know it probably seems quite, well, it is quite repetitive. You've got to decide often with your tridents. You know, we tend to, when we get them from the dealers, and these, all my tridents have come from the dealers, they're pretty, a lot of them are pretty poor specimens, and you've got options. I mean, I know someone who would literally say, right, you know what we're going to do, we're going to take all of these branches off, we're going to let that go and let it run, and then really thicken up and have a tree that's a lot higher up. Here I actually like the shape, so I want to try and work with the shape that I've got. So we're now at this back branch. They're very brittle, so there's not a lot of bending I can do on those. This can wire, but I've actually got two buds here and then these ones here. So again, it's frustrating because every part of me wants to cut there, but actually what I really want is a bud point there. So I'm going to see if I can encourage that, let those run, and hopefully that will give me a bud there next year. Same here. There's bud points there, there. Just going to take the terminal off that. That will probably be wired down. So that's exactly what I'll do with that, wire that down. With that in mind, buds there, there. So cut that off, and here got twos there. Take the terminal off on that one. Not sure, it depends how, when I put the wire on that, how that comes. I might. Right, this is the case here. So I've got a bud here, and this main branch. I could actually chop that entire branch off and regrow from these two buds, but in this instance I'm not. That means I'm going to remove this side. That means that's now going to come along there, and then that one's going to grow there. I quite like the direction of that, so it's just whether or not I can get something lower here. And looking at it, there's actually a bud, I believe. Is that a bud underneath? There might be a bud underneath there, but there's definitely some buds. So what I'm actually going to do, take that right off. I think that's a bud there, but I actually want a little bud lower in there. Okay, so that's that one done. We've actually got this quite ugly straight here, very ugly. Could actually wire that when I did wire the whole lot. So let's have a look here again. Come all the way. That's again, it's a long length here without any growth as well. So I really want to see if I can get some of the, there is buds here, definitely buds there. Either way, I want to bring it back to the size of that one, if I come back to here, there's buds there, so that's what I'm going to do. Here, got a very, very long, that could do with wiring. There's bud points here, so we're going to activate those. So those will come out. See how that wires. So I'm going to just do this one off camera, wire up, and then come back when we're wiring. Okay, so I've wired it all up. I've come in a bit closer, so this little mug's going to come out of shot a bit. I've cut all these just so you can see at the top here. So now what we've got left with is just those two buds here. I've cut, there was a great big long bit there, I've cut it back because what I want is those two which are really close here. Same here, and again I've done the same here, cut them right back, and we'll see how that grows out. Same here, they've basically been cut back, and I've just completely, as you can see, wired this one right up in preparation. And it may be that I end up wiring it so that it actually comes away and opens this up as a possible front. This could be a possible front. I am tempted to actually wire that, and that could become a back. So anyway, let's have a look here. First of all, we've got this great massive length. We don't want a massive length, and we also want to try and orientate it, some of these vertical buds. If anything, it just creates more of a separation between here. Now this is quite brittle. Okay, with this long one, the issue is I know I'm really probably not going to have any of this, and it's quite brittle. I'm actually looking at where the bud points are going to come out here and whether I can reorientate those for that purpose. I'm waiting for that horrible crack sound. So sometimes it's hard to get that rotate, and I mean that's pretty well been rotated 360 degrees now. And I don't want all this, but what I really want is that bud there. Seems I've just got to close the angle between that one and that one so it wasn't so obvious. Yeah, it's not perfect. Okay, so that's on that. I'm actually going to put a little bit of wire on that and just see if I can induce enough movement on it to make it work. Okay, so I've just put some loose wire around there. This is extremely brittle. I could actually end up breaking it now, but let's have a go at it. I don't know if you can see, just there's the little part of stress line which shows that's opening up, so that's actually already close to a break. I've definitely brought it much more to the fore, and if you have a look at it, it's not so obviously coming straight this way, so that's better. I really can't do much with that splits there. What I'm going to do is just put a little bit of it hasn't cracked. I mean, Ryan Neil will say, oh, wait for it to get that basic crack, but I can see there's enough of strain there that I don't really want to. And it should be alright, to be honest. A little bit of sealant there. If the front was actually like that, that actually could stay on that branch, and if I get any sort of budding back here, that could work quite well. So if the new front was there, yeah, actually I think that will work. Now as far as that goes, I'm done on that. I will probably clean out all the moss around here, make sure there's no yuckies, give it a dormant spray. Okay, so from the central terrace, makes it sound right posh, it does. I'm done on this one, and I've done more than I was intending to actually. And actually I've probably demonstrated all the techniques. There weren't any great techniques to show. As I said, I'll clean this up, certainly around the roots and all that sort of stuff. I will do a overwintering dormant spray on it. Is the sun shining on the ball bits of my head? I bet it is actually. I'm probably a hazard to low-flying aircraft. Yeah, so that's looking at the new front. Sometimes it's really tough because these are ugly birds. Difficult to see the bud points on them, and because you're always having to think in terms of you want the ones further back, it's harder to see. This is definitely, I mean, there's a bud higher up. This is definitely going to be reduced. This bit at the back here, I think. But anyway, that's how I'm continuing the development of this one. There's a lot to happen here. There is a lot to be neatened or carved here, but I'm not going to do that now. So I'll probably bring one of the bigger, coarser ones now for you to look at. Okay.